Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Joyride podcast. This is your host, Rebecca Joy. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode. I am so excited to bring you today's episode because I was actually inspired to record this episode based off of a reel that I saw yesterday from an intuitive coach. And basically the reel was talking about what is the protocol. Like, what do you do when you are searching for clarity, you're searching for an answer, you're moving through a big transition or transformation in your life? It's like, what do you do in order to get that answer? And this is something that has taken me, I would say, like a few years to really come up with my own protocol. And it was very, very similar to hers. And I think in comparing her protocol with mine, it reminded me just the power that we have truly. Like, we have access to all of these things that we will be talking about today. These are very simple things that we all can do, and there's nothing fancy. It's nothing that we have to, search for outside of ourselves. Like, this answer and creating the space to get this answer and get this clarity is going to come from doing things that are actually really holistic and really simple and really, really grounded. So, thank you for tuning in for yet another episode. Let's just jump right in and dive right into this protocol. So, let's throw out some examples here of like, okay, we're needing this answer. Let's say that we're in a relationship that's no longer serving us, or we feel like our friend group is shifting, like you're not getting the fulfillment that you used to get from the people that you are surrounding yourself with. Let's say that you are feeling called to quit your job and move in a different direction, whether that's, I want a different job, or I'm ready to start my own thing, or like, maybe I'm ready to move through the transition of being a single woman to now exploring what it would feel like and look like to have a life partner and to, become a wife and become a mom. And like, I could give you so many different examples, but this is going to be such a universal protocol that anyone can use to receive any type of clarity. And again, this is all coming from within. So let's get into the 5 steps that make up this protocol when you are searching and seeking clarity and you need an answer in your life. So my first step is to disconnect. Now let's unpack that. What does it mean to disconnect? Am I going to disconnect from myself? Absolutely fucking not. No, we want to be so connected to ourselves, and we want to be disconnected to everyone and everything outside of ourselves. So what does that look like? It looks like turning off your phone. It looks like getting off of social media as much as you possibly can. Now, I understand based on your job, and let's say you live with someone, or maybe it's not realistic for us to turn off our phone, but if you can take more time out of your day disconnecting from the world, because you will find inspiration out in the world, whether that's you sitting with yourself in a meditation, taking time to read, going on walks. You will either be really, really self-inspired, or naturally, you're just going to pull inspiration from the outside world. But disconnecting is so incredibly powerful. I mean, the thing about this protocol is this is really more so like a lifestyle choice for me. Not to say that I do all of these steps to the maximum, if that makes sense, every single week. But I definitely, when I'm going through a transitional phase, I always come back to these steps because they never steer me in the wrong direction. And because I've done it so many times, I know how clear I get when I come back to this protocol. So, disconnecting may look like, taking a month or 2. Maybe you don't even need that long. Maybe it's a few weekends. You're like, hey, I'm not going to see anyone this weekend, I'm just going to spend time with myself. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to do things that I love to do. I'm going to stop posting online for a little bit. I mean, we just need to remember that, like, the world continues to move on. And I know that I get so caught up and like, I have to always be creating content and I have to always remind people that I'm here. But it's like, we don't need to always be putting stuff out there. Like, it's okay to disconnect. It's okay to take yourself out of the mix a little bit. It's like, I also think that the more that we value retreating and coming back to ourselves, like, the more valuable our word is and the more valuable our presence is. And like, even for how this plays out in my own life when it comes to the people in my life, there are certain people that take much longer to get back to me. And when they do, I find it to be just so valuable. Not to say that it's more valuable than someone who responds really quickly to me, but like, I know that their response is really intentional and really, really valuable. So that is the first step, disconnecting from other people. Now, usually when we think of like disconnecting, a lot of people can revert to like going out and drinking and doing things that do not serve us because they want to disconnect from themselves. This is not part of the protocol, okay? The number one step in this protocol is we have to get you back home to you, okay? We need to silence every other voice of reason outside of yourself, which is so easy to get caught up in, especially with how digital our world is and just how easily accessible it is to gain someone else's opinion, to gain someone else's insight, to gain inspiration from someone else. Like I mentioned, like, you are going to either become really self-inspired by yourself, but I also think that you're going to get really, really inspired by the outside world. And when I say the outside world, I don't mean from TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest. I mean from like going out in the world and going to a coffee shop and noticing something like a sign or just like a download comes through and you're like, like, I never thought of that before. So that is the number one step. Disconnect and silence. Like, there's so much beauty in silence. And, you know, that silence can come through whether it's you sitting on your couch not doing anything, going on a walk, not listening to anything, sitting in meditation. Like, the beauty about this protocol is you get to try out so many different ways and see what fits best for you. I am not someone that loves to sit in an hour-long meditation. It's just not somewhere that I gravitate towards going. But for me, I can easily go on an hour-long walk and not listen to anything. And I find that it's a very powerful practice for me to connect with God, to connect to the universe, to connect to something outside of myself. You know, I can sit in a meditation for 20 minutes at the end of the day, but maybe sitting in a meditation practice for an hour or two does not serve me, but maybe it'll serve you. So try out disconnecting in whatever way that you feel called to. Okay, the second step here is cleaning up your diet. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say about this step. A few years ago, when I started working with a naturopath, and she cut out so much from my diet, and I was overwhelmed and I was anxious. I'm like, you're telling me that I'm no longer going to be eating my oatmeal. I'm no longer eating gluten. I'm no longer eating dairy and peanut butter and all these things that I loved. But I found just with removing gluten and dairy together for 2 weeks, no gluten, no dairy, I remember calling my mom and telling her that I felt like I was in outer space because I was so clear in my mind and it was so cool. I had so much energy. I didn't have any brain fog, and I didn't view myself as someone that had brain fog, but I definitely had like energy dips throughout the day. I just felt so clear and so connected to myself. And by removing dairy and gluten, then also removing, oats, because oats can be highly contaminated with gluten, things that caused or like triggered acne, sugar, like all of the shit that you've heard before, cutting out, not necessarily carbs, because I don't believe in that, but cutting out like gluten, cutting out inflammatory things. So maybe that's dairy for you, cutting out sugar, obviously, like white sugar, we don't want that. Now, natural sugar that comes from fruit and honey and maple syrup, that's all fine. But really, really cleaning up your diet. If you have never done this, oh my gosh, it is life-changing. Now, when it comes to this step, I definitely believe that you need to give it time, because again, everyone is gonna have different effects from this. So for me, I felt it like completely within 2 weeks, but I also know that my body is really sensitive to the foods that I eat. I am very particular about what I put in my body, because I just feel the effects really, really strongly. I have cut out, I guess you could say, other vices that I was never honestly even really into. But that could look like for you, like cutting out alcohol for 2 weeks, cutting out sugar, cutting out any type of like, I'm going to call it like miscellaneous drug. Maybe it's like cigarettes, or who smokes cigarettes nowadays, but maybe you do. I don't know. Weed, or like even microdosing. Not to say that microdosing is not great, because I have used it, but like cutting out anything extra basically in your diet, anything highly processed, fast food, or just like inflammatory oils, canola oil, like a sunflower oil. I don't know. There are so many nasty oils out there. Just really, really cleaning up your diet and giving it time. Not only will you feel so much lighter in your body, like that's another thing. When I gave up gluten, and it's funny because I always thought that me and gluten were like super tight. Like I fucking love gluten. I started to eliminate dairy from my diet when I was in college, so my body was very used to not intaking dairy on a daily basis. But the gluten thing was very interesting to me, because my body definitely fluctuated when it came to bloating, but like my stomach region started to look so fucking snatched when I stopped eating gluten, and now I rarely eat gluten, which is so funny because I had a dream that I had pizza last night, and I woke up and was like, am I affected by this? I highly believe that your body will start to take effect when you take out certain foods and maybe even food groups that are keeping you in a state of inflammation and a state of dis-ease. Like if we think about the word, disease, like break it up. Dis-ease. Like we want to make sure that your body is in a state of ease and that you can connect to your physical body. So that is my second step, really, really cleaning up your diet, which I know for a lot of people may be very tough. You're like, Rebecca, but with my job, I have to do this. I have to eat that. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and be a drill sergeant and say, you have to cut out every single thing that you love in your life. But listen, if you are in a position in your life where you're like, holy shit, I need some fucking clarity, what do I do? You can go so many different routes. You can disconnect from yourself and continue to be hella freaking confused. You can outsource this external help, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but let's start with you connecting to yourself. Food plays such a pivotal role in this. You don't need to go seek out a naturopath, start using like all of these crazy herbal supplements. That can be a part of this journey here, but like really when I started to work with a naturopath, I came in because I had developed cystic acne after getting off of the birth control pill. But throughout this process of taking these supplements and eliminating these foods from my diet, I realized that the most powerful, reflection in all of this was that I truly felt so connected to my body, and I became so incredibly intuitive when it came to how my body would react to things. Like I would just know if I ate this, something would happen. I would start to feel anxiety when I did eat gluten or when I did have a drink. Like your body becomes so clear of all the shit basically that when you do start to introduce this stuff, your body's like, oh, whoa, yeah, I don't like this. Which to some people, they may not want to experience that. But to me, like, I want to feel clear and connected all the time. So when I do indulge in something, not to say that I can't, because I am human. And like, listen, I'm never going to fully give up gluten. Like I just won't. And I'm not going to fully give up the things that I don't love, but there are things that I just don't even care about anymore, like alcohol. I've never been a huge drinker, but now I'm like, am I sober? Because like I never drink and I just don't feel called to because I like feeling so clear and so connected to my intuition. My intuitive responses are so quick now and I don't have to sit here and think, oh my gosh, is this the right decision? Is this not? I just know. And if I'm still in that limbo phase, I know, maybe my body just needs a little bit more time. So that is the second step here. So let's go back. First step is disconnect. Second step is diet. Now the third step is movement. We need to be able to channel this stagnant energy that's in us. That can come, or like, this type of movement can be whatever you feel called to do. Now, most people think movement, I got to go to the gym. Well, if you don't like going to the gym, no one's forcing you to go to the gym. Like taking walks every day, stretching every day, going to yoga, going to Pilates. Maybe it is lifting weights for you, playing tennis, rock climbing, swimming. I don't know. I have just found that movement is such a beautiful way to channel and focus our energy because we need to move the emotion. We need to move the energy and move the feelings inside of us. And this is, to me, it's like another form of meditation, movement, because I'm connecting all of my senses. So I'm connecting my physical to my spiritual, my mental to my emotional. They're all coming together. So what a lot of us think that we need to do is I just need to sit here and I just need to figure out what the answer is. And I'm like, nah, you need to move. You need to move this energy. It wants to move. It wants to go somewhere and it wants to channel somewhere. Now, I'm not saying don't sit because yes, we want to sit with ourselves. We want to sit with our feelings and sit with our emotions. But that goes back to the disconnecting. Like disconnect from the world and channel this energy that you have within you. But we don't want to be sitting around all day, every day. And again, maybe your protocol, you're like, okay, I need 10% this, I need 20% that, I need 30% this. To me, these are the 5 foundational steps that everyone can implement when they are looking for that clarity. So movement is the third step. The fourth step is to talk to the universe. Now, we can do this in so many different ways. We can do this by going on a walk and talking out loud. I do this all the time. It is one of the most transformational practices that I have in my life. I am constantly talking to the universe. First thing in the morning, I'm talking to the universe through prayer. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, I am talking to God. I am asking for help. I am asking for support. I am asking for guidance. I am asking for signs. Talk to the universe. Talk to God, talk to Jesus, talk to whoever or whatever you want to call it, but have that open line of communication. Let the universe know, listen, I'm here, I'm putting in the work, I am trying, and I need you to help me because you are in a partnership with the universe. You can talk through recording a podcast. Maybe it's not for other people, but maybe it's for yourself. I also love to record voice notes on my phone when I'm going through something that feels just like a lot. I need to communicate how I'm feeling. This is such a huge part of my protocol and my practice. You can journal. You don't have to necessarily talk, but for some people, they would prefer to journal. and, talk and communicate just through written word. You can write on your computer, whether that's like writing yourself notes, writing on a blog. And again, you don't have to share any of this. Like, again, if we're searching for answers, like, keep it private. Keep this to yourself. Maybe one day you choose, this is actually some really good shit and I want to share this with people. Or maybe you find out that this is a really beautiful way for me to express myself. And maybe I want to start a Substack, or maybe I want to start my own blog or something. I don't know. Or maybe I want to become a content creator. You never know. What other ways are there to talk to the universe? Just think about like the ways that you gravitate towards communication. Maybe talking to the universe means like you expressing yourself through art. So maybe that's making music or painting or drawing. I don't know. I think that there are just so many beautiful, unique ways for us to talk to the universe and to ask and pray and also give gratitude. Prayer, asking for help, and gratitude kind of all mesh together in this one category of talking to the universe. In praying and asking for support and in asking for guidance, we're also expressing gratitude for where we are, for what the fuck we're going through, which sounds so counterintuitive. Like, why am I expressing gratitude when I'm going through the hardest season of my life? Why am I saying thank you when all of this darkness feels like it's consuming me? And like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Trust me, when you're on the other side, it is going to make such a difference that you were able to express gratitude for the hardship that you endured, for the challenges that you overcame, and expressing gratitude for all that you already have. You have so many beautiful, wonderful things already in your life, whether that's your dog, your boyfriend, your sister, your parents, your job, your favorite pair of jeans, the food that you eat, the roof over your head, your bed because you get the best sleep every single night, the workouts that you do. Like, trust me, you have so much to be grateful for. And giving thanks for all of the things that you desire, what your soul, what your heart truly desires, giving gratitude towards that. And this may feel really funny if you've never done this. You're like, why am I expressing and giving gratitude towards things that I don't even have yet? Okay? This is called attracting what we want. This is called law of attraction. And being this magnet, like literally visualizing yourself as a magnet for the things that you want to be magnetized towards you. I also have found for myself that I am someone that processes things and moves on from one thing to the next really quickly. I have to continuously stop myself and remind myself, Rebecca, slow the fuck down. And because I'm so quick in my process, I think like, oh, I don't need to write this down. Like I'm already over it. But writing things down and really forcing myself every single day to pray, to stop, to give thanks, to give gratitude, to ask for help allows me to ease back into this natural feminine nature that I am and that I have within me, to remind myself of the beauty of slowness. Okay, when you are moving through a transition in your life, whether it feels heavy or light, we need to make sure that we are infusing intention every single step of the way. So forcing myself to slow down, to write out what I'm feeling, to express gratitude, by putting pen to paper. What is also extremely helpful to do during this time as well is to take inventory of where you are putting your time and your energy and your money into. I like to do this pretty often because I just love to make a list. Miss Virgo over here. But really write out, what do I love about this? What do I not love about this? What do I love about where I'm spending my money? Where do I not like spending my money? Look at your weeks, look at your weekends, look at your months, who are you spending time with? I think that this is also like on a practical note, it's really, really beneficial if we think about like, okay, I'm quitting my job and I want a new job. Like, okay, sit with yourself, and instead of like just meditating it, like you can meditate on this, but then like journal about it. Like, what do you love about your current job? What do you fucking hate? Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you have like 20 things that you hate about your job and only 3 things that you love. But now you can take those 3 things that you love about your job and say, this is a non-negotiable for me. Or maybe you're in a relationship where you're like, hey, I know that this is not it, but like these 5 things about this person I absolutely love, and I know for certain that this is what I want in my next partner or my life partner. But maybe you have a list of like 15 things that you didn't love. And again, all of this is going to start coming through naturally. Like, I promise you, really naturally when you disconnect, when you focus on cleaning up your diet so that you have this clear channel and this clear access to your inner guidance system and to your intuition by, moving your energy through movement and by talking to the universe in whatever form or whatever way feels really, really good for you. So that's the 4th step. Now, the 5th step is one of they're all so important, but this one really just like ties everything together for me. And I'm sure that I could give you like 5 more steps, but to me, these 5 steps were really, the universal practices, like really the foundation of what you need when it comes to gaining that clarity or gaining a specific answer. It's being in nature. The amount of clarity that I have received by going on a walk, I can't even begin to describe. I can't even like quantify it and put it into words. I have received so much clarity by just being out in nature. For me, that usually looks like going on a walk, whether that's a walk in my neighborhood, a lot of times like walking along Lady Bird Lake in Austin, like that is my preferred way of being in nature. But maybe for you it's camping, maybe for you it's like I just want to go to the park and sit there and meditate for 3 hours, or like journal in nature. Maybe it's going on walks, maybe it's, going on a hike, like just being in nature. Like, you will feel so connected to the universe, and just for some reason it's like this is when the downloads really start to flow through and really, really start to channel through. I can't even tell you how many walks I've been on where I'm just so full of emotion, or I start off the walk and I'm feeling so confused and so lost, and I'm in this state of analysis paralysis. There's so much overwhelm. I'm feeling so frustrated, so angry, so heavy, all of the things, all of the negative things that we don't want to feel. After that, hour and a half long walk, I come back and I feel so at ease. I feel so peaceful. I feel so grounded. The messages were coming in hot. The downloads were coming in hot. I feel so much lighter. I feel so much happier. I feel so much clearer in my decision-making process. And the point of all of these steps is to get you one step closer to feeling very affirmative in yourself, feeling very decisive when it comes to your decision-making, feeling like what my body, what my mind, what my soul is telling me is the right answer. And I'm not seeking out guidance from, something or someone outside of me. Now, I want to throw in a little extra like bonus step. It is very beneficial to have a conversation or to have, open conversation with someone that you really, really trust. Now, I will say that I wholeheartedly believe that the answers come from within, but a lot of times we can gain really great reflections through having a conversation with someone else that we really, really trust. So whether that's a life coach, whether that's a therapist, whether it's, a certain friend of yours, you have to be careful with this, because at the same time you are outsourcing that insight and that information. But I have found with people that I really, really trust, it's never really about the advice and the insight that they have to give me. Of course, it's great. Of course, like there are certain people that I go to when I am in a position where I'm seeking out, guidance, and I'm seeking out support, and I'm seeking out an answer. But above all else, what it reminds me of is like how clear I am in my decision making, how definitive I am in making that decision for myself. Like, how do I phrase this? It's not always about the insight and the advice that they give you, that the other person gives you. For me, I found that it really, really affirms the way that I think and the way that I feel. And I've picked up on this a lot over the past few years when I'm surrounded by people that I don't necessarily vibe with, that I don't necessarily understand, or like their lifestyles are very different from mine. I just feel disconnected from them. I don't feel disconnected from myself. If anything, I feel way more connected to myself. Like, for instance, when I'm around a group of people who are like, they all have a 9-to-5 job, you can just like, I feel a very strong disconnect in my body because I'm like, I can't relate to that. I can't understand that. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just not me, and it's not how I choose to live my life, and it's not the lifestyle that I would prefer. So having these safe conversations with someone that you really trust, I think if anything, yes, they can continue to give you really, really great advice. But like, even for me with my clients, like I know that they're coming to me because they want my guidance and they want my support and they want that love and reassurance from me. But it is my job as someone who truly embodies this work to remind them that like, hey, above all else, like you need to listen to yourself. But if I can guide you and steer you back home to you through the conversation that we're having so that you can sit back and say like, actually, Rebecca, like that's great advice, but like, I really don't want to do that. Like, that's the point. So even if someone gives you great advice, I've experienced this so many times over the years with coaches and healers, like they'll be like, hey, I think this would be a really great idea. I'm like, you know what? That is a great idea, but actually I don't want to do that. And for some reason, it just truly helps to reaffirm and reiterate the answers that I have had all along, but it's really helpful sometimes to have that conversation. Now, the beauty about nature is it's like we can talk to nature, not actually, like it's not like a tree is going to talk back to you, but there's just this feeling that you get within nature. And like you can talk to the universe and say like, hey, universe, I'm struggling with this. Help a sister out. Like, I need a sign. Show me a sign. Like, have that open conversation. Of course, it's different when you're having a conversation with another person, but it's like, I find that I gain a lot of insight and wisdom when I listen to a podcast. Now, I am not someone who listens to a ton because I'm very selective with what I listen to, but sometimes it's nice to go listen to someone else share and someone else talk because it allows me to come back home to myself and be like, I agree with that or I don't agree with that. But yeah, really focusing on just being out in the world, being out in nature, opening yourself up to what comes through and not being so reliant on pulling answers from something that you see online or opening yourself up to the judgment or the insight of someone else, because like people are always going to want to give you their 2 cents. And it's like, well, I didn't fucking ask you for your opinion unless I did. And again, we can go back to, if you choose to outsource someone that you really, really trust, I think if anything, if you are able to get to this point in your life and in your journey where you are so self-aware, which for a lot of us does take a lot of time, but you will get to that part in your journey where, you're just gonna like take it. You're gonna say like, you can share all this advice and insight with me, but you don't necessarily need to act on it. Like I have been in positions before where, I sought out advice from coaches and I really, really took what they had to say to heart and I would act on it. And now, because I am so certain in myself and I am so self-aware, and it's because of, these steps, and it's because of these tools that I utilize every single day. So those are my 5 steps. This is my protocol that I would use, that I would recommend to anyone when you are seeking out clarity, when you're needing guidance, when you're needing an answer. I promise you that if you start to integrate these 5 steps in your life, you can utilize this protocol for anything in your life. That's the beauty of this. It is so universal. This work, this self-development work, this self-growth work is not meant to only be infused or only be used in your professional life or within your career. No, you can use this protocol when it comes to your health, when it comes to self-love, when it comes to your career, or when it comes to your platonic relationships, your family, your, financial matters. You can use this protocol for all aspects of your life. It is such a grounding foundation, and I swear that by integrating these steps, it has changed everything about me and everything about my life. So that is what I have for you today in this episode. Thank you for listening. I would really appreciate it if you would rate this podcast and leave me a comment, maybe something that you loved about the episode or something new to you that popped out. I would also love if you shared this episode with someone else in your network that you think would benefit from listening to it. And that is all. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you in the next episode.